Have you ever lain awake at night, eyes closed, body tired, yet the mind refuses to rest? Have you ever wondered why the same pattern keeps returning? The same struggle, the same weight, as if life is circling you instead of moving forward. It is late evening. The room is quiet. A ceiling fan turns slowly above you. Your phone rests face down on the bedside table. The house has finally settled. Yet inside, something does not. Your chest feels slightly tight. Your breath does not fully drop. Your thoughts move backward through the day, then further back through months, sometimes years. Why did this happen again? What did I do wrong? Why does life feel harder just when I am trying to do the right thing? You are not weak for feeling this. You are not failing at life. And you are not being punished. This restlessness is not a flaw. It is a signal. In the Indian tradition, we are taught the word karma early in life. Often it is spoken with fear, as if it is a silent judge, as if it is waiting to strike when we make a mistake. But karma was never meant to frighten you. It was meant to teach you how life learns. Karma is not an angry force. It is not revenge. It is not a cosmic scorekeeper. Karma is movement, cause unfolding into consequence. A lesson ripening when the mind is ready to receive it. When difficulty returns again and again, it is not because you are bad. It is because something is asking to be understood. Tonight, as you lie here, the body heavy with fatigue, there may be a quiet resistance inside you. A sense of why me? A wish that this phase would simply end. That resistance is human. But in the deeper current of Dharma, life does not work by punishment. It works by preparation. Just as the night prepares the body for rest. Just as sleep prepares the mind for clarity. Karma prepares the soul for alignment. Sometimes it prepares through softness. And sometimes through friction. A student does not learn by comfort alone. A seed does not open without pressure. And a heart does not mature without being asked to surrender something it is holding too tightly. This does not mean you deserve pain. It means you are growing into something wider than before. When Lord Krishna spoke of Dharma, he did not promise ease. He promised right alignment. And right alignment often begins with discomfort. Not because life is cruel, but because truth cannot be rushed. Tonight is not about fixing anything. It is not about understanding everything. It is about allowing the body to rest without fighting the meaning of your life. For now, you can let go of the story that says you are being punished. You can let the idea soften. You can allow the possibility that this moment, even this tiredness, is part of a larger preparation. As you lie here, breathing quietly, you do not need to solve karma. You only need to stop arguing with it. Let the night hold you. Let the breath slow you. Let Dharma work gently, without force. We will walk this understanding together. Slowly. One layer at a time. When everything feels personal. It is early morning. Not yet sunrise. The house is quiet, but your body is already awake. You sit on the edge of the bed. Feet on the floor. A faint ache in the lower back. A familiar heaviness behind the eyes. Yesterday is still with you. A conversation that stayed unfinished. A remark that lingered longer than it should. A situation where you did your best, yet the outcome felt unfair. As you reach for a cup of water, the mind reaches too. It replays. It tightens. It asks questions that have no answers at this hour. Why does this keep happening to me? Why am I always the one facing this? What have I done to deserve this cycle? The body responds before the mind finishes the sentence. Shoulders lift slightly. Jaw tightens. Breath becomes shallow. This is the moment most people do not notice. The moment suffering quietly deepens. The mind has taken the event and wrapped it around the idea of me. This should not have happened to me. They should not have treated me this way. Life should not be testing me again. This is not arrogance. It is habit. The mind is trained to protect an image, a sense of self that must be defended, explained, justified. When something goes wrong, the mind assumes a target. And often, that target is you. This is where karma begins to feel like punishment. Not because karma is cruel, but because the mind takes everything personally. In the Buddha's teaching, this tightening has a name. He spoke of anatta, non-self, not as an idea to think about, but as something to feel directly. He saw that much of our pain does not come from what happens. It comes from the belief that everything is happening to a solid, separate me. When praise comes, the me inflates. When blame comes, the me collapses. When difficulty comes, the me feels attacked. But karma is not responding to a fixed self. Because there is no fixed self to punish. There is only movement. Causes unfolding. Conditions meeting. Lessons ripening. When you believe life is against you, the body hardens. When you believe life is shaping you, something softens. This softening does not happen all at once. It begins quietly. Right now, as you sit or lie here, notice the effort you are making. The effort to understand. The effort to explain. The effort to protect who you think you must be. Nothing is wrong with you for doing this. This is how the mind learned to survive. But survival is not the same as peace. And peace begins when you stop carrying everything as a personal verdict. In the next moment, we will gently step closer. Not to fix the story, but to loosen the grip around it. For now, simply notice how much weight comes from believing, this is happening to me. Something subtle begins to appear when you pause here. A small space. Not freedom yet. Just space. You may notice that beneath the story of why this is happening, there is a deeper sensation. A quiet fear. The fear of being wrong. The fear of having failed your dharma. The fear that life is keeping score and you are falling behind. This fear does not shout. It tightens. It tightens the chest. It shortens the breath. It makes the night restless even when the body is exhausted. This is the psychological knot. The belief that karma is judging you as a person. But karma does not know your name. It does not remember your past as a narrative. It only responds to movement. In the same way fire responds to touch. In the same way the body responds to sleep. The Buddha noticed this clearly. He saw that suffering multiplies when we add identity to experience. Pain happens. Then the mind says, I am being punished. And pain becomes suffering. This is what he called the second arrow. But tonight, we are only touching the first movement. Not solving. Not correcting. Only seeing. Let me tell you about a man named Arjun. He was careful with his life. He followed rules. He supported his family. He tried to live correctly. Yet loss kept arriving. A job ended suddenly. A relationship dissolved without explanation. His health weakened during a time when he needed strength most. Each time, he asked the same question. What karma is this? At night, he lay awake just like you. Body tired. Mind alert. Heart quietly accusing itself. One evening, sitting alone on the balcony, city lights flickering below, something shifted. Not insight. Not relief. Just exhaustion from carrying blame. He stopped asking why me. Not because he found the answer, but because the question no longer helped. In that moment, something loosened. The events did not change, but the way they landed in his body did. This is where practice begins. Not as effort, but as permission. If you are lying down, allow the body to sink a little more into the bed. If you are sitting, let the spine be upright but not rigid. You do not need to close your eyes. You only need to listen. Let the shoulders drop. Unclench the jaw. Allow the tongue to rest. Now breathe in through the nose for a slow count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause gently. No holding. Just a moment of stillness. And breathe out slowly for a count of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Do this again. Without forcing. As you breathe, ask quietly inside, what am I taking personally right now? Do not answer. Just notice what arises. And then, very softly, offer this phrase inwardly. This is not a punishment. This is a preparation. Let the words settle without argument. Nothing more is required in this moment. And as this understanding touches you, even briefly, we will move gently forward to a way of softening the heart, without giving yourself away, softening without losing yourself. It is evening again. The light outside has turned amber. The day has done what it needed to do. You sit quietly, maybe on the floor, maybe on the edge of the bed, a cup of tea cooling beside you. The body feels worn, not broken, just worn. Inside, there is a familiar confusion. If I soften, will I be hurt again? If I stay kind, will life keep taking advantage of me? Many people confuse softness with surrender, and surrender with weakness. So the heart learns to tighten, to protect, to brace. But the tightening costs energy. It steals sleep. It turns the inner world into a guarded place. This is the second knot. The belief that staying open means being unprotected. In the Buddhist path, there is a teaching that answers this gently. Metta, loving kindness, not as politeness, not as niceness, but as a strength that does not depend on control. Metta does not mean allowing harm. It means refusing to harden. The Buddha never asked anyone to submit to suffering. He asked them to stop adding hatred to pain. Softness, when rooted in awareness, is not fragile. It is flexible, like bamboo in a storm. Let me tell you about Meera. She had learned early in life to endure family expectations, unspoken duties, the quiet pressure to keep everyone comfortable. She told herself this was love. But at night, her body told another story. A tight chest, a jaw that never fully relaxed, sleep that came in pieces. One day, after a long conversation where she agreed to something she did not want, she sat alone and felt empty. Not angry, just empty. That was her turning point. She did not become harsh. She did not withdraw. She learned something subtler. She began practicing kindness without self-abandonment. When guilt arose, she met it gently. When pressure came, she paused. When she said yes, it was real. When she said no, it was quiet and steady. Nothing dramatic changed overnight, but something inside her aligned. This is loving kindness in action. Warmth without collapse. Care without erasure. Now, let us rest inside this understanding together. If you are able, allow the body to settle. Let the hands rest naturally. Palms open or relaxed. Bring attention to the heart area. No need to imagine anything. Breathe naturally. No counting this time. With each inhale, feel a gentle expansion. With each exhale, feel a soft release. Ask yourself quietly, where have I been kind without being kind to myself? Do not judge what appears. Then offer this phrase inwardly. May I be gentle without disappearing. Let it echo softly. Loving kindness is not about giving more. It is about giving wisely. And when this wisdom begins to take root, the heart no longer needs armor. From here, we will learn how to return home. Again and again. Through the breath. Returning home to the breath. It is late now. The house has gone still. Lights are off. Curtains barely move. Outside, distant sounds soften into a low hum. You are lying down, or sitting quietly. The body finally has permission to stop performing. Yet the mind still wanders. It drifts to what might happen tomorrow, to what should have been said, to what could still go wrong. Even after kindness, even after understanding, the mind keeps moving. This is not failure. It is habit. The third knot is restlessness, the inability to arrive fully where you already are. The Buddha offered something very simple here. So simple it is often overlooked. The breath. Not as a technique, not as control, but as a home the mind can return to. He taught anapanasati, mindfulness of breathing, not to escape life, but to touch it directly. When the breath is shallow, the mind is agitated. When the breath is steady, the mind remembers how to rest. Most people try to calm the mind with thought, but the mind cannot calm itself with more movement. The breath leads, the mind follows. Let me tell you about Ravi. He lived constantly in his head, planning, replaying, anticipating. At night, even in silence, his thoughts felt loud. He tried affirmations. He tried understanding his past. Nothing stayed. One evening, exhausted, he stopped trying to fix himself. He simply noticed his breath. Short, uneven, almost held. He did not change it. He stayed with it. Something unexpected happened. Within minutes, his shoulders softened. Not because the problems disappeared, but because his body felt safe enough to stop bracing. That night, he slept without effort. This is the quiet power of returning home. Now, let us practice together. If you are lying down, let the bed support you. If you are seated, let the spine rise naturally. No posture to achieve. Place one hand on the belly. Or simply feel the breath where it is most obvious. Breathe in through the nose for a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause gently. Just a beat. Then breathe out for a count of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Do not force depth. Let length create softness. Repeat this rhythm 3 times. As you breathe, notice. The body begins to trust the moment. Ask yourself quietly, where have I been rushing ahead of myself? No answer needed. Then offer this phrase inwardly. I am allowed to arrive. Stay here. Just a little longer. The breath does not ask you to believe anything. It only asks you to be present. And from this presence, a new kind of stability begins to form. Next, we will explore how this steadiness protects your words before they leave your mouth. The pause that protects your words. It is late afternoon. The kind of hour when patience thins without asking permission. You are standing in the kitchen. Or sitting at a desk. A message lights up the phone. Just a few words. Nothing dramatic. Yet something sharp moves through the body. The chest tightens. Heat rises behind the eyes. The tongue prepares a sentence before the mind finishes listening. You know this moment. The moment before words leave and cannot be called back. This is where sleep is often lost later. Not because of what happened, but because of what was said. Most regret does not come from silence. It comes from speech that arrived too quickly. The mind believes speaking fast will protect you, defend you, correct the world. But the body knows something else. It braces, as if impact is coming. This is the psychological knot of speech. The urge to react before the heart has caught up. In the Buddhist path, speech is not just communication. It is action. The Buddha placed right speech at the center of daily life. Not as moral control, but as protection for the mind. He saw that words spoken from agitation carry agitation forward. Words spoken from stillness carry stillness. Right speech is not about saying the right thing. It is about saying things from the right place. That place is not thought. It is awareness. Most people think harm happens after words are spoken. But harm usually begins before that. In the body, the shoulders rise. The breath shortens. The mind narrows. If you learn to listen to this moment, speech begins to change on its own. Let me tell you about Nikhil. He was respected at work, competent, reliable. But at home, conversations often turned sharp, not because he was cruel, but because he was tired. When his partner questioned him, even gently, his body reacted as if accused. Words came out clipped, defensive, accurate but cold. At night, he replayed these moments. Not the argument, the tone. He noticed something painful. He was not saying what he meant. He was saying what his tension chose. One evening, after a long day, the same situation appeared. A question. A familiar tightening. This time, something interrupted the pattern. He noticed his breath, held high in the chest. He did not force calm. He did not plan better words. He paused, just long enough for one slow exhale. In that pause, the sentence softened, not weaker, clearer. The conversation still happened, but it did not wound. This is the power of right speech. It does not remove difficulty. It removes unnecessary harm. The pause is not silence. It is alignment. In Indian wisdom, silence is not emptiness. It is intelligence. When Lord Krishna spoke of action, he spoke of right timing. Speech is the same. Words spoken too early are often about fear. Words spoken too late are often about avoidance. Right speech listens first. To the body. To intention. Now, let us slow this down together. If you are lying down, remain supported. If you are seated, allow the spine to lift gently. Bring awareness to the mouth, the jaw, the tongue. Notice if there is holding. Let the jaw soften. Let the tongue rest. Now bring attention to the breath. Breathe in through the nose for a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause gently, just enough to feel the body. Breathe out slowly for a count of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do this again, without forcing. As you breathe, recall a recent moment where words moved too quickly. Do not replay the scene. Only feel where it lives in the body. Ask quietly inside, what was I trying to protect? No answer is required. Now offer this phrase inwardly. I choose response over reaction. Let it land. Right speech begins here. Not at the lips, but at the breath. As you practice this pause, you may notice something unexpected. Silence becomes less frightening, because it is no longer empty. It becomes a space where wisdom gathers. In this space, you do not disappear. You arrive. And when words do come, they carry less weight, but more truth. This is not about speaking less. It is about speaking from rest. When the body feels safe, speech becomes kind without effort. As this understanding settles, we will move next toward how action itself can become an expression of self-respect. The pause grows quietly with practice, not as discipline, but as familiarity. At first, it feels uncomfortable, like standing still when the body wants to move, like holding a door half open. Silence can feel dangerous when you are used to defending yourself with words. Many people speak quickly not because they are careless, but because they are afraid. Afraid of being misunderstood. Afraid of losing control. Afraid that if they do not speak now, their truth will disappear. This fear lives in the body, not in logic. The Buddha did not ask people to suppress speech. He asked them to understand the moment before it arises. That moment is where freedom lives. If you watch closely, you will see. Speech is often born from contraction. The chest tightens. The throat narrows. The breath shortens. From this place, even true words can wound. Right speech does not ask, is this correct? It asks, is this timely? Is this necessary? Is this coming from kindness? Kindness here does not mean softness of content. It means clarity without harm. Let me tell you about Sunita. She was known in her family as the honest one. The one who said what everyone else avoided. People respected her and quietly feared her. Her words were accurate, but something in them cut. At night, she told herself she was only being truthful. Yet she often lay awake replaying faces. The way shoulders dropped. The way conversations ended too quickly. One evening, after a family gathering, she noticed her body shaking slightly. Not from anger. From exhaustion. She realized something difficult. She was using truth as armor. The next time a familiar conversation arose, a criticism waiting to be spoken, she felt the urge rise. This time, she paused. Not long. Just enough to feel her breath. In that pause, the words reorganized. They became fewer. Slower. The message did not disappear. But the sharp edge softened. The room stayed open. This is what happens when speech comes from alignment instead of defense. Right speech does not make you smaller. It makes you precise. There is less to prove. So fewer words are needed. Now, stay with the body again. Notice the throat. Is there tension there? Let the throat soften, as if making space inside. Notice the breath, without changing it. Then take one slow inhale through the nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale gently, longer than the inhale. As you breathe, sense the space between thought and speech. That space is not emptiness. It is wisdom waiting. Ask yourself quietly, what would happen if I waited one breath? No answer. Just curiosity. Often, the answer arrives as relief. Because the body knows. Not every thought needs a voice. Not every truth needs immediate expression. Some truths need time. Some need tenderness. Some need silence first. Silence does not erase your presence. It deepens it. When you speak less reactively, people listen more fully. Not because you are louder, but because your words carry steadiness. This steadiness protects you and others. As this pause becomes familiar, you will notice something subtle. Conversations slow down. Conflicts lose momentum. Sleep arrives more easily at night. Not because life is perfect, but because you are no longer fighting it with your tongue. Stay here with this understanding. There is still more to unfold. But we will not rush. Right speech grows the way rest grows. Quietly. When conditions are right. Choosing self-respect without hardening the heart. It is midday. The kind of hour when the body feels pulled in many directions. Messages waiting. Responsibilities stacking quietly. Requests arriving without asking how full you already are. You stand still for a moment. Maybe in a doorway. Maybe beside a window. The body feels stretched thin. Not from effort, but from giving. There is a familiar tension in the chest. A sense of being needed everywhere. And held nowhere. This is where many people begin to lose themselves. Not through one big mistake, but through many small essays. Yes spoken when the body whispered no. Yes offered to avoid discomfort. Yes used to keep peace outside while losing it inside. The mind often calls this goodness, duty, responsibility. But the body tells another truth. Through fatigue. Through resentment that arrives quietly at night. Through sleep that never fully restores. This is the psychological knot of action. The belief that doing more proves worth. In the Buddhist path, action is never separate from awareness. The Buddha spoke of right action, not as obedience to rules, but as alignment with truth. Right action asks a simple question. Does this action increase clarity or confusion? Does it lead toward steadiness or depletion? Right action is not about doing what looks correct. It is about doing what is honest. Many people confuse sacrifice with virtue. But sacrifice without awareness becomes harm. Let me tell you about Karan. He was dependable. The one people turned to when things needed fixing. At work, he stayed late. At home, he listened endlessly. In his family, he never refused. People praised his strength. But inside, something was eroding. He woke each morning already tired. His back ached. His temper shortened in small, sharp moments that surprised him. At night, he told himself he should be grateful. Others had it worse. But the body does not understand comparison. It understands limits. One evening, after agreeing to another commitment he could not hold, Karan sat alone, his hands resting on his knees. Breath shallow. For the first time, he did not blame others. He saw himself. Not with anger. With clarity. He saw that he had been acting from fear. Fear of disappointing. Fear of being unnecessary. Fear of losing belonging. This was not kindness. It was self-erasure. Right action entered his life quietly. The next time a request came, he paused. Not to calculate, but to feel. His chest tightened. His stomach dropped. He said no. Simply. Without explanation. The world did not collapse. The person adjusted. The situation found another solution. And something unexpected happened. His body relaxed. This is how right action feels. Like coming home to yourself. Right action does not require drama. It requires listening. Listening to the body. Listening to fatigue. Listening to the subtle signals that say this is too much. In Indian wisdom, Dharma is not separate from life. It lives in action. When action violates inner truth, Dharma feels distant. Sleep becomes restless. The heart becomes heavy. When action aligns with inner truth, even difficult choices feel clean. Right action does not promise comfort. It promises coherence. Now, let us slow down and feel this together. If you are lying down, allow the body to rest fully. If you are seated, let the spine rise without effort. Notice the weight of the body. How it meets the surface beneath you. Bring attention to the belly. The place that often tightens when we say yes too quickly. Place a hand there if it feels supportive. Now breathe in gently through the nose. Slow. Unforced. And breathe out slowly, letting the belly soften. Do this a few times. Without counting. As you breathe, bring to mind one recent action. Something you agreed to. Something you did. Notice how the body responds. Does it feel open? Or contracted? Do not judge. Just observe. Ask quietly inside. Was this action aligned with my truth? No answer is required. The body will speak. Now offer this phrase inwardly. I am allowed to choose myself without guilt. Let the words settle. Right action does not turn you away from others. It turns you toward honesty. When you stop overgiving, what you offer becomes real. Boundaries formed through right action are not walls. They are clarity. They tell the world how to meet you. And tell your body it is safe. As you practice this, you may notice discomfort arise. Guilt. Doubt. Old voices that say you are selfish. These voices are not enemies. They are habits. You do not need to silence them. Only not obey them. Right action grows slowly. Like strength returning to a muscle long overused. With time, sleep deepens. Resentment loosens. Energy returns in quiet ways. This is not because life demands less, but because you are no longer carrying what is not yours. As this understanding settles, we will move next toward how to remain steady. Even when the world does not respond the way you hope, something else begins to reveal itself when you practice right action for a while. You notice that even when you choose yourself, the world does not always respond kindly. Some people resist. Some misunderstand. Some withdraw their warmth. This is often where doubt returns. Was I wrong? Should I have explained more? Did I act selfishly? The body feels this before the mind names it. A flutter in the stomach. A tightening in the chest. This is not a sign you chose incorrectly. It is a sign you are leaving an old pattern. When you stop overextending, you interrupt expectations that were built on your exhaustion. The Buddha understood this deeply. He did not promise that right action would always be rewarded. He promised it would be freeing. Freedom does not always feel comfortable at first. There is a period of rebalancing, where the nervous system learns a new truth. That you can be safe without overgiving. That you can belong without disappearing. Let me return to Karan for a moment. After he began saying no, he noticed something subtle and painful. Certain calls stopped coming. Some invitations faded. For a while, loneliness crept in. Not dramatic, just quiet. At night, he questioned himself. He missed being needed. Then one evening, sitting alone after dinner, he felt something unexpected. Peace. Not happiness. Not excitement. Just a body that was not bracing. He realized that much of his connection had been built on availability, not intimacy. Right action was not taking people away. It was making space for truer connection. This is an important moment on the path. When action aligns with self-respect, but the heart still aches. The practice here is not to harden, not to retreat. It is to stay soft without reversing course. Now, come back to the body again. Notice the heart area, not the emotional heart. The physical sensation. Is there tenderness there? If there is discomfort, allow it. Do not label it. Bring the breath there gently. Inhale slowly, as if creating space. Exhale without pushing, as if letting something settle. Ask quietly inside, can I allow this discomfort without abandoning myself? No answer is required. Often, the body responds with a sigh, or a softening you did not expect. Right action teaches the body a new language, one where choice replaces obligation. Over time, this changes how you walk, how you speak, how you rest. You stop rushing to prove your worth, because your actions are no longer trying to earn belonging. Belonging begins inside. As this steadiness develops, you may notice something else. You react less to outcomes. You do not collapse when things go wrong. You do not inflate when things go well. This is not indifference. It is balance beginning to form. And balance is what allows the heart to stay open, even when circumstances are uneven. We are not moving away from care. We are moving towards stability. Stay here with this understanding a little longer. There is still one more layer of right action unfolding. And we will continue gently, without rushing into the next teaching. Staying steady when the world shakes. It is early evening. The day has not gone as planned. Something was said. Something did not happen. Something shifted without warning. You notice it first in the body. A subtle sway inside, as if the ground moved slightly beneath your feet. Not panic. Not collapse. Just instability. You are standing at the sink, or sitting quietly with a cup of tea. The moment should be ordinary. Yet inside, there is motion. This is where many people reach for control. To fix. To explain. To rebalance the world as quickly as possible. But sometimes the world does not rebalance on demand. This is the psychological knot of equanimity. The discomfort of not being able to steady everything outside you. The mind wants certainty, resolution, a clear direction. When it does not arrive, the nervous system tightens. Sleep becomes shallow. Thoughts begin to loop. Why is this happening? How long will this last? What if it gets worse? The Buddha did not teach equanimity as indifference. He taught it as inner steadiness. A quality he called upekkha. Not coldness. Not withdrawal. Balance. the ability to remain present without being pulled apart by circumstances. Equanimity does not mean nothing matters. It means you are no longer thrown off center by every change. In Indian thought, life is understood as movement, cycles, rise and fall, gain and loss. Suffering deepens when we demand that movement stop. Equanimity begins when we stop arguing with impermanence. Let me tell you about Anjali. She lived with high sensitivity. Not fragile, just deeply affected. When things went well, she soared. When something went wrong, she collapsed inward. Her emotional life felt like weather without shelter. A small disagreement could ruin her day. An unexpected delay could steal her sleep. She told herself she needed to be stronger. But strength never arrived through effort. One evening, after a disappointment she could not fix, she sat quietly on her bed. The lights off, the room dim. She felt the familiar urge to analyze, to blame, to replay. Instead, something new happened. She noticed her breath, noticed the ache in her chest, and did not move away. She stayed. No fixing, no reframing, just staying. It was uncomfortable, but it did not destroy her. That was the beginning of equanimity. Not peace, but steadiness. Over time, she practiced this staying. Each time life shifted unexpectedly, she stopped trying to feel good and started allowing what was present. Something changed. Her emotions still moved, but they moved through, not over her. Equanimity did not make her less caring. It made her less shaken. This is the heart of the teaching. Equanimity is not a state you achieve. It is a relationship you build with change. Now, let us touch this practice together. If you are lying down, let the body be fully supported. If you are seated, feel the weight of the body grounding downward. Notice the contact points, where you meet the surface beneath you. Let the shoulders drop. Let the hands rest naturally. Bring attention to the breath. Not to change it, just to notice it. Where is it most obvious? The nose, the chest, the belly. Stay there. Now take a slow breath in, unforced, and a slow breath out, letting the body settle a little more. As you breathe, bring to mind something uncertain, something unresolved. Do not go into the story. Just feel where it lives in the body. Notice the urge to move away, to solve, to control. Do nothing. Ask quietly inside, can I stay with this without tightening? No answer needed. Just one more breath. Equanimity is practiced here, in the middle, not after resolution. When you stay with discomfort without hardening, the nervous system learns something new. That uncertainty does not equal danger. That change does not mean collapse. This learning happens slowly, through repetition. Each time you remain present, something inside steadies. Equanimity does not remove sadness. It prevents drowning. It does not remove fear. It prevents panic. It allows you to feel deeply, without being destroyed by feeling. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna speaks of the steady one, unaffected by pleasure or pain. Not because they do not feel, but because they are rooted. Rootedness is what we are cultivating here. A place inside that does not sway with every outcome. This rootedness supports sleep, because the mind no longer needs to monitor everything. The body rests when it trusts stability. As equanimity grows, you may notice you react less dramatically, but you also recover faster. Disappointment still comes, but it does not stay as long. Joy still arrives, but it does not need to be clutched. This balance is not dull. It is spacious. It allows life to move, without dragging you with it. Stay here for another breath. Notice the steadiness beneath sensation. The part of you that is aware, but not overwhelmed. That awareness is always present, waiting to be trusted. As this trust deepens, We will move next toward understanding how suffering multiplies and how it can gently end. There is another layer to equanimity that often reveals itself later. After you learn to stay, after you learn not to flee discomfort, you begin to notice something subtle. The mind still comments. It labels. This should not be happening. This is unfair. This always happens to me. These thoughts do not feel dramatic. They feel reasonable. But they quietly pull you back into struggle. This is where suffering multiplies. Not because of the event, but because of the story added to it. The Buddha saw this clearly. He taught that pain is unavoidable. But suffering is optional. Not optional in the sense of choice, but optional in the sense of addition. Life delivers one arrow. The second arrow is what the mind fires into itself. Equanimity does not block the first arrow. It stops the second. You feel disappointment, but you do not accuse yourself. You feel loss, but you do not collapse into why always me. This restraint is not suppression. It is wisdom. Let me return to Anjali once more. Months into her practice, something unexpected happened. A familiar setback occurred. One that would have devastated her before. She felt the sting. She felt the sadness. But then she noticed something else. The story did not arrive. There was no long internal argument. No rehearsed conversations. No spiral into the future. Just sensation. And breath. The feeling passed through her. Like a wave that rises and falls. She was surprised. Not by strength, but by simplicity. Equanimity had quietly matured. This is how you know the practice is working. Not because life stops hurting, but because it stops haunting you. Now, let us rest inside this insight. Notice the mind right now. Is it trying to evaluate? To conclude? To understand? Gently let that effort soften. Bring attention back to the body. Feel the weight again. The contact with the surface beneath you. Take one slow breath in, as if welcoming what is here. And one slow breath out, as if allowing it to move on. Ask quietly inside, what am I adding right now? No answer needed. Often, the body responds by relaxing, as if relieved of a burden it did not need to carry. Equanimity grows when you stop feeding the second arrow. You do not need to argue with thoughts. You only need to see them as additions. When you do, they lose urgency. The nervous system learns a new rhythm. Respond, then rest. Over time, this changes how you sleep. The mind no longer needs to replay every disturbance, because it trusts that nothing needs fixing right now. Rest becomes possible, even when life is unfinished. Stay with this understanding a little longer. We are not rushing ahead. The next teaching will show you clearly how suffering repeats itself, and how it gently ends. But for now, let the body feel what steadiness is like, even for a few breaths. That is enough. For this moment, when pain does not need to become suffering. It happens quietly. A moment that should have passed, but did not. A sentence echoes. An expression stays with you. A memory returns long after the event has ended. You notice it while brushing your teeth, or while turning over in bed, or while the room is finally dark and still. The body reacts again, as if it is happening now. The chest tightens. The stomach contracts. Sleep feels far away. This is not because the moment was so big. It is because something followed it. This is the psychological knot of repetition. The pain that keeps returning even after the situation has ended. Most people believe suffering comes from events. But events are brief. Suffering is what stays. The Buddha offered a teaching that explains this with great clarity. He called it the two arrows. The first arrow is the pain that life brings. Loss, criticism, illness, disappointment. No one escapes the first arrow. The second arrow is what the mind adds. Why me? This should not have happened. I will never recover. This always happens. The second arrow is optional. Not because it is easy to avoid, but because it is learned. Most of us have been firing it since childhood. The body does not know the difference. It reacts to the second arrow as if it were new danger. This is why the same pain can hurt again and again, even when nothing new has happened. Let me tell you about Ramesh. He lost someone important to him. Not suddenly, but slowly. The loss itself was painful. He cried. He grieved. That was the first arrow. But weeks later, months later, the pain returned each night. Sharper. More relentless. His mind replayed what he should have said. What he should have done. What he failed to notice. Each thought tightened his body. Each memory reopened the wound. He believed this was love. That replaying meant honoring. But his body was exhausted. One night, unable to sleep, he sat quietly and noticed something new. The pain had two textures. One was soft, heavy, sad. The other was sharp, accusing, relentless. He began to see the difference. The sadness came and went. The accusation stayed. This was the second arrow. Not grief, but self-punishment. When Ramesh stopped arguing with the sadness, stopped pushing it away, something changed. The grief moved, but the suffering softened. This is the heart of the teaching. You cannot always avoid pain, but you can stop turning it into a story about yourself. Now, pause here. Notice your body. Right now. Is there a place that feels tender? Let that tenderness exist. Do not label it. Now notice if there is a voice attached to it. A commentary. A judgment. This voice is not wrong. It is learned. But it is not required. Bring attention to the breath. Inhale gently. No counting. Exhale slowly. As if letting something fall away. As you breathe, ask quietly, is this the first arrow or the second? Do not answer. Just notice. Often, the body responds immediately. The shoulders drop. The jaw softens. Because the body knows. It does not need to be punished to heal. The Buddha did not teach this to make people passive. He taught it to end unnecessary suffering. When pain arrives and you stay present, without blame, without story, it completes its movement. When pain arrives and you add the second arrow, it repeats. This is why some memories feel alive and others fade. The difference is not importance. It is attachment. The mind believes repeating will bring control, or closure, or justice. But repetition only keeps the wound open. Ending the second arrow does not mean forgetting. It means allowing the experience to rest. Let us practice this together. If you are lying down, allow the body to be fully supported. If seated, feel the weight of the body grounding downward. Notice the breath. Where it enters. Where it leaves. Bring to mind something that still hurts. Not the most painful. Something manageable. Feel where it lives in the body. Now notice the thoughts around it. Not the content. The tone. Is it harsh? Demanding? Gently say inwardly. This is the first arrow. Let that be enough. Stay with the sensation. Without adding meaning. Take one slow breath. Often, the sensation shifts, softens, moves. This is not suppression. This is completion. When the second arrow is not fired, the body knows how to heal. Over time, this practice changes your nights. Thoughts still arise, but they do not grip. Memories still visit, but they do not wound. Pain becomes part of life, not the center of it. This does not make you cold. It makes you free. Free to feel, without being consumed. Stay here for a few breaths. There is nothing to solve, nothing to fix, just a quiet understanding. The next teaching will help you see how the mind creates images and mistakes them for reality. But for now, let the second arrow rest. You have carried it long enough. When not responding is wisdom. There is a moment that comes after understanding the second arrow. A quiet moment. Not dramatic. Almost ordinary. You notice a thought rise. A response forming. Words lining up in the mind. And then, you do nothing. Not because you are afraid. Not because you are weak. But because something deeper recognizes. This does not need my voice. It often happens in small ways. A message arrives that once would have demanded an explanation. A comment is made that once would have pulled you into defense. A silence appears where you once rushed to fill the space. The body notices first. There is a slight tightening. Then a release. This is the psychological nod around silence. The belief that not responding means losing ground. Many of us were taught early. If you do not speak up, you disappear. If you do not defend yourself, you are wronged. So the tongue stays ready. The mind stays alert. Even when the heart is tired. The Buddha offered a radical counter-teaching. Noble silence. Not silence as withdrawal. Not silence as punishment. Silence as wisdom. Noble silence does not mean saying nothing. It means not speaking from agitation. It is the silence that comes when clarity has not yet ripened. Or when speech would only add noise. The Buddha himself practiced this often. When questions were rooted in confusion rather than curiosity. When arguments sought victory rather than understanding. He remained silent. Not to dismiss, but to protect. Let me tell you about Kavita. She was articulate, quick-minded, always ready with the right words. In meetings, in family discussions, in disagreements, her ability to respond impressed people. But it exhausted her. At night, her mind replayed conversations. What she said. What she could have said better. One day, during a familiar conflict, she noticed something new. Her body did not want to speak. Her chest felt tight. Her throat dry. The words were there. Sharp. Accurate. But her body resisted. She paused. The silence felt uncomfortable. Heavy. Someone else filled the space. The conversation moved on. Nothing collapsed. Later that evening, she realized something quietly powerful. The silence had protected her. Not from others. From herself. She had not added fuel. She had not fired a second arrow. She had allowed the moment to pass. This is noble silence. Not avoidance. But discernment. Silence becomes noble when it arises from awareness. Not fear. Now, let us feel this together. If you are lying down, allow the body to rest fully. If seated, let the spine be upright but soft. Notice the mouth, the tongue, the urge to speak even now. Let that urge be there. Without obeying it, bring attention to the breath. Inhale gently, as if making space. Exhale slowly, as if settling. Ask quietly inside. What would happen if I did not respond right now? No answer is required. Often, the body responds with relief. Because silence gives the nervous system time. Time to regulate. Time to return to balance. Noble silence does not erase truth. It allows truth to arrive at the right moment. Some words need silence before they can be spoken cleanly. Some situations resolve themselves when not interfered with. Silence is not absence. It is presence without intrusion. As this practice matures, you will notice something subtle. You speak less. But when you do speak, people listen. Because your words are no longer crowded. They come from stillness. This stillness supports rest. Because the mind is no longer rehearsing conversations that never needed to happen. Stay here with this understanding. We are not done. But we are deepening. The next teaching will help you see How the mind projects its own images and mistakes them for reality. For now, let silence be enough. For this breath. For this moment. When letting go does not mean losing your way. There comes a point on this path. Quiet. Almost unnoticed. You have learned to pause. To soften. To stay. To see clearly. And yet something still tightens. A subtle holding. A need to manage what comes next. It often appears at night. The body is resting. But the mind is arranging tomorrow. What should happen? What must not happen? How things need to turn out. You notice the breath shorten. As if preparing for responsibility that has not yet arrived. This is the psychological knot of control. The belief that vigilance keeps you safe. Most people think control lives in the mind. But it lives in the body. In the jaw that stays tight. In the chest that does not fully release. In sleep that remains shallow. Control feels responsible. But it is often fear wearing discipline. Fear of chaos. Fear of loss. Fear that if you let go, something essential will fall apart. The Buddha saw this pattern with great compassion. He did not tell people to abandon effort. He taught them to release grasping. There is a difference. Effort is aligned action. Grasping is fear pretending to be certainty. Letting go is not passivity. It is trust without blindness. In Indian wisdom, surrender is often misunderstood. It is imagined as collapse. But true surrender is alignment. Allowing life to move without constant interference. Let me tell you about Deepak. He was organized, prepared, always thinking 2 steps ahead. People depended on him. And he depended on his plans. When things followed the plan, he felt calm. When they did not, his body reacted sharply. His sleep suffered. His temper shortened. He told himself this was responsibility. One evening, after a carefully planned situation unraveled, he sat alone in his car. Hands on the steering wheel. Breath tight. For the first time, he noticed something honest. Control had not prevented pain. It had only delayed his ability to feel it. That moment did not free him. But it cracked something open. Over the following weeks, he began to experiment. Not recklessly. Gently. When anxiety rose, he noticed the impulse to manage. To fix. To predict. Instead of obeying it, he paused. He let one small thing remain unresolved. Then another. The world did not collapse. What surprised him was not the outcome, but the sensation. His body felt lighter. His breath deeper. Letting go had not taken his direction. It had returned him to the present. This is the heart of the teaching. Control tries to live in the future. Letting go returns you to now. Control asks, what if? Letting go asks, what is needed here? Now, let us feel this together. If you are lying down, let the surface beneath you carry your weight. If seated, feel gravity supporting you. Notice the breath. Without changing it, notice if there is any holding. Anywhere. Jaw. Shoulders. Belly. Gently allow those places to soften. Take a slow breath in, as if acknowledging effort, and a slow breath out, as if releasing responsibility that does not belong to this moment. As you breathe, bring to mind something you are trying to control, something unresolved. Do not go into the details. Just notice the body's response. Now ask quietly inside, what happens if I let this be unfinished for now? No answer is required. Often, the body exhales, because control is exhausting, and the body knows it. Letting go does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop strangling what you care about. When control loosens, clarity often sharpens. You see what is actually within your reach, and what never was. The Bhagavad Gita speaks of action without attachment to outcome. Not because outcomes do not matter, but because clinging to them distorts action. When you release the demand for a specific result, your actions become cleaner, more precise, less desperate. This changes how you move through life. You plan, but you are not enslaved by the plan. You act, but you are not crushed by results. You rest, because vigilance is no longer constant. Over time, this practice touches sleep deeply. The mind no longer needs to rehearse the future, because it trusts the present. Thoughts still come, but they do not command. Letting go is not a one-time decision. It is a moment-by-moment release. Each time you notice grasping and soften instead, something inside realigns. This realignment is Dharma in action. Not forced, not dramatic, quiet, steady. As this teaching settles, you may feel uncertainty. That is natural. Letting go removes the illusion of control, but it reveals something stronger. Stability that does not depend on outcome. Stay here with that for a few breaths. Notice the steadiness beneath uncertainty. That steadiness has always been here, waiting for you to stop gripping long enough to feel it. We will continue gently. For now, you do not need to manage the path. You are already walking it. There is one more place control hides, and it is easy to miss. It hides in improvement. The quiet pressure to become better, calmer, more healed, more spiritual. It sounds noble. It feels responsible. But it can keep the body subtly tense. Even on this path, the mind can turn practice into another form of control. Am I doing this right? Why am I still struggling? I should be further along by now. These thoughts arrive softly, but they keep the nervous system alert. The Buddha noticed this too. He saw how even the wish for liberation can become another grasping. So he taught a paradox. Freedom comes not from perfect practice, but from releasing the one who is trying so hard. Letting go includes letting go of the version of yourself you think you should be by now. This is often the deepest surrender. Let me return to Deepak once more. As he learned to loosen control around outcomes, another layer appeared. He became impatient with himself. Why am I still anxious? Why does this still bother me? He noticed the same tightness, the same urgency. This time, it was aimed inward. One night, unable to sleep, he stopped trying to calm himself. He stopped correcting his thoughts. He simply noticed. Even this urge to improve his control. In that recognition, something softened. Not relief, acceptance. He did not become passive. He became kinder. This kindness was not indulgent. It was honest. He allowed himself to be unfinished. And sleep came. Not because he solved anything, but because he stopped managing himself. This is a subtle but vital point. Letting go does not mean you stop growing. It means growth is no longer forced. Like a plant, growth happens when conditions are right, not when it is demanded. Now, feel into this gently. Notice if there is any effort right now, any attempt to get somewhere else. No need to stop it. Just notice. Bring the breath into the chest, where effort often lives. Inhale gently. Exhale slowly, as if loosening a grip. Ask quietly inside, what if nothing needs to change in this moment? Let the question rest. Without answering, often, the body responds with a deeper breath, or a heaviness that feels like relief. Letting go is not resignation. It is intimacy with life as it is. When you stop pushing the river, you begin to feel its direction. This direction is not loud. It is subtle. It shows up as clarity about the next small step, not the whole path. As you release control, intuition becomes clearer, because fear is no longer shouting over it. This is how Dharma guides. Not through force, but through quiet alignment. Stay here for a few breaths. Notice how much effort drops when you stop trying to arrive somewhere. This moment is not a test. It is not a preparation for later. It is already complete. We will move forward gently. When the time is right. For now, rest in this permission. You do not need to hold your life together tonight. It is allowed to breathe on its own. When boundaries become an act of compassion, there is a moment that often comes quietly. After learning to pause, after learning to soften, after learning to let go, you begin to feel something new. A subtle inner line. Not rigid, not defensive, just clear. It appears in ordinary moments. When a request arrives late at night. When someone asks for more than you can give. When expectation lands on you without invitation. The body notices first. A tightening in the belly. A quiet heaviness in the chest. A sense of being pulled away from yourself. This is the psychological knot around boundaries. The belief that saying no harms connection. Many people were taught early that love means availability, that duty means endurance, that goodness means self-sacrifice. So when the body says this is too much, the mind responds with guilt. If I refuse, I will disappoint. If I say no, I will be selfish. If I protect myself, I will lose love. This guilt is not intuition. It is conditioning. The Buddha never taught people to disappear for others. He taught compassion rooted in wisdom. Compassion that includes the self. Without this, kindness becomes depletion. And generosity becomes resentment. Boundaries are not walls. They are clarity. They show where you end and where another begins. Let me tell you about Neha. She was known as the reliable one. The one who always showed up. The one who never said no. Her phone rang constantly. Friends, family, work. She answered every call. Outwardly, she was admired. Inwardly, she was exhausted. At night, her body ached. Sleep came lightly. Her mind replayed conversations, wondering why she felt so drained. She told herself she was doing the right thing. One afternoon, after agreeing to yet another request she did not have the energy for, she sat quietly, her hands in her lap, breath shallow. Something honest rose inside her. I am tired of being needed more than I am known. This thought scared her, but it also felt true. Her practice did not begin with confrontation. It began with listening. The next time a request came, she noticed her body, the familiar tightening, the inner resistance. Instead of overriding it, she paused. She said no, softly, without explanation. Her heart raced. Guilt surged. But the world did not collapse. The person adjusted. The moment passed. Later that evening, Neha noticed something unfamiliar. Energy. Not excitement. Not relief. Energy that had not been there before. This is how boundaries work. They do not take life away. They return it. Boundaries born from awareness are not rejection. They are honesty. They tell others how to meet you. And tell your body it is safe. In Indian thought, Dharma includes right relationship. Not only with others, but with yourself. When you consistently override your limits, the body eventually protests. Through fatigue, through irritation, through illness. Boundaries prevent this protest. By listening earlier. Now, let us feel this together. If you are lying down, allow the body to rest fully. If seated, let the spine rise gently. Bring attention to the belly, the place where yes and no often first appear. Notice any sensation there. Do not judge it. Bring the breath there gently. Inhale slowly, as if making space. Exhale slowly, as if affirming your right to exist fully. As you breathe, bring to mind one situation where you feel overextended. Do not replay the story. Just feel the body's response. Ask quietly inside, what would be honest here? No answer needed. Often, The body responds immediately. Boundaries are not decided by argument. They are felt. Now offer this phrase inwardly. I can be kind without abandoning myself. Let it settle. Guilt may still arise. That is natural. Guilt is simply the echo of an old agreement. An agreement that said your needs come last. You do not need to fight guilt. You only need to not let it decide. With practice, guilt softens. Because the nervous system learns. That connection does not disappear when you honor yourself. In fact, it often deepens. When you stop saying yes out of fear, your yes becomes meaningful. People feel it. And those who only valued your availability may drift. This can hurt. But what remains is truer. Boundaries reveal relationships. They do not destroy them. Over time, you will notice something else. Resentment fades. Because you are no longer betraying yourself. Sleep improves. Because the body is not bracing for constant demand. The heart softens. Because kindness is no longer forced. This is compassion in balance. Not endless giving. Not rigid refusal. But responsive presence. Stay here for a few breaths. Notice how the body feels. When it is allowed to be included. There is no rush to perfect this. Boundaries are learned gradually. One moment. One breath. One honest pause at a time. We will continue gently. The next teaching will help you understand how to hold compassion for difficult people without moving closer than is wise. For now, let your limits be part of your kindness. They are not a failure of love. They are its foundation. Holding compassion without moving too close. There is a quiet confusion that arises after learning boundaries. If I step back, if I protect myself, does that mean my heart is closing? Many people fear this. They worry that distance will turn them hard. That compassion requires closeness. But compassion and proximity are not the same. You can wish someone well without placing yourself in harm. You can understand pain without absorbing it. This is the psychological knot of compassion. The belief that caring means enduring. Often this belief was learned early. From family. From culture. From moments where love was conditional on tolerance. So when someone is difficult, critical, unstable, demanding, the body feels torn. If I stay close, I suffer. If I step away, I feel cruel. The Buddha offered a path through this confusion. He taught compassion without attachment, care without entanglement. This is not coldness. It is clarity. True compassion does not require self-sacrifice. It requires seeing clearly. Let me tell you about Suresh. He had someone in his life who caused constant turbulence. Not intentionally, but consistently. Every interaction left him drained. Yet he felt guilty creating distance. After all, the other person was struggling. One day, after a particularly exhausting exchange, Suresh noticed something painful. His compassion had become resentment. He was giving with his mouth, but resisting with his body. This was not kindness. It was conflict. Through quiet practice, he learned something essential. He could wish the other person peace without staying in constant contact. He could care without staying available. The moment he allowed this truth, his body softened. Compassion returned. Because it was no longer forced. This is the difference between pity and compassion. Pity collapses. Compassion stands steady. Compassion says, I see your suffering, and I will not add mine to it. This is not abandonment. It is wisdom. Now, pause here. Notice if there is someone in your life who is difficult for you. You do not need to picture them clearly. Just sense the body's response. Notice where tension arises. Do not judge it. Bring the breath there gently. Inhale slowly, as if acknowledging the difficulty. Exhale slowly, as if releasing responsibility that does not belong to you. Ask quietly inside, what is the kindest distance here? No answer needed. The body often knows before the mind. Compassion without closeness allows the heart to remain open. Without being wounded repeatedly. It allows you to meet people as they are, without expecting them to become someone else. This kind of compassion is spacious. It does not chase. It does not rescue. It does not endure harm in the name of virtue. It simply wishes well, and steps back when needed. As this understanding settles, something important happens. You stop confusing endurance with love, and love becomes lighter. This lightness supports peace, supports sleep, supports steadiness. You are no longer at war with your own limits. Stay here for a few breaths. Notice how compassion feels when it is no longer tied to proximity. There is still warmth, but also air. This balance is not learned in one moment. It grows with practice. We will continue gently. The next teaching will guide you toward trusting inner stillness as a source of direction. For now, let compassion be wide and your boundaries intact. Both can coexist without contradiction. Trusting the quiet place that does not argue. There is a moment that arrives after compassion finds balance. After boundaries soften guilt. After silence teaches restraint. You begin to notice something subtle. A quiet place inside that does not debate, does not rush, does not explain itself. It does not shout instructions. It does not offer guarantees. It is simply there. Most people overlook this place because it is not dramatic. It does not sound like thought. It does not feel like emotion. It feels more like steadiness. You notice it in ordinary moments. When you pause before replying. When you sense a clear yes or no without reasoning. When something feels settled even though the future is uncertain. This is the psychological knot around inner guidance. The habit of trusting noise over stillness. Many of us were taught to trust logic, plans, opinions, advice. But inner stillness was rarely named. So we learned to doubt it. If I cannot explain it, it must not be real. If it does not make sense, it must not be reliable. Yet the body often knows before the mind what aligns and what does not. The Buddha did not teach people to follow instincts blindly. He taught them to cultivate awareness until clarity emerged. That clarity often appears as stillness, not emptiness, but quiet knowing. Let me tell you about Ishan. He was thoughtful, intelligent, always weighing options. Every decision felt heavy, because he tried to consider everything. By the time he chose, he was already exhausted. At night, his mind replayed choices. Did I do the right thing? What if I missed something? One evening, after weeks of indecision about a life change, he sat quietly. No planning, no analysis, just sitting. At first, his mind resisted. This is a waste of time. But beneath that resistance, something else waited. A sense, not a thought. This is enough. This is not the right time. This does not feel aligned. The clarity was not loud, but it was steady. When he followed it, life did not become perfect, but the inner argument stopped. This is how you recognize inner stillness. It ends inner debate. Trusting this stillness does not mean you stop thinking. It means thinking no longer leads. Stillness leads. Thought supports. In Indian wisdom, this quiet knowing is often called inner dharma. Not rules. Not duty. Alignment. When action aligns with this place, even difficult paths feel clean. When action ignores it, even successful outcomes feel heavy. Now, pause here. Notice your body. Is there a sense of rest? Or a sense of urgency? Notice without judgment. Bring attention to the center of the chest. Not the emotional heart, The physical sensation. Place a hand there if it feels supportive. Breathe gently. No counting. As you breathe, notice if there is a quiet signal. Not words. Not images. Just a leaning. Toward or away. Ask quietly inside. What feels true right now? Do not search for an answer. Often, the answer is felt as relief. Or as calm firmness. Inner stillness does not explain itself. It does not need permission. It becomes clearer the more you stop overriding it. At first, trusting it can feel risky. Because it does not promise approval. But over time, you notice something. You regret less. Because you are no longer betraying yourself. Even when outcomes are uncertain. Sleep comes more easily. Because the body trusts your choices. Inner stillness does not rush. So it is patient. It does not compete. So it is steady. This stillness is not something you create. It is something you stop covering up. With noise. With urgency. With fear. As you learn to listen. It becomes a refuge. Not a place you escape to. But a place you act from. We will continue gently. The next teaching will invite you to sit with impermanence. Not as loss. But as a teacher. For now, rest here. You do not need to decide anything in this moment. Let stillness be enough. Just for this breath. Resting where the path already knows you. Tonight, you have not been given new beliefs. You have been returned to something familiar. To the body that knows when it is safe. To the breath that has been waiting patiently. To a steadiness that was never broken. Only covered. You have walked through many understandings. Not as ideas. But as felt experiences. You saw how suffering tightens when everything feels personal. How kindness can soften without self-erasure. How the breath brings you home when the mind wanders. You learned that action rooted in self-respect is not selfish. That steadiness is possible even when life moves. That pain does not need to become a second wound. You touched silence. Not as absence. But as wisdom. You saw how the mind projects its fears. How control exhausts. How letting go restores direction. You felt how boundaries can be compassionate. How distance can protect love. How stillness can guide without speaking. None of this was about becoming someone else. It was about remembering how to stop fighting what is already true. Karma, when seen clearly, was never punishing you. It was shaping your capacity. Widening your understanding. Preparing you to meet life without armor. Dharma did not demand perfection. It asked for alignment. And alignment does not arrive through force. It arrives when resistance softens. You will forget these teachings at times. That is human. You will react. You will tighten. You will fire the second arrow without noticing. This does not undo the path. Each moment of remembering. Each pause. Each honest breath. Brings you back. Before you rest, take one slow breath. Feel the body where it is supported. Let the jaw soften. Let the shoulders drop. You do not need to resolve your life tonight. You do not need to understand everything. For now, it is enough to trust that what is unfolding is not against you. It is shaping you. Quietly. Precisely. With more patience than fear ever had. Let the night carry what you no longer need to hold. Let sleep arrive without instruction. You are allowed to rest. The path does not require vigilance. It continues. Even while you sleep.